walking the beautiful streets of Old San Juan, you will pretty much see many more structures like this one. You see, what the food culture is a blend of different cultures. My apologies. My marketing pretty much wants to show that in every single aspect of our traditions. You see, we have a combination of Cuban descent, Cuban history, Cuban culture, but we are rich as well. Spanish culture, Spanish history, and Puerto Rican history and culture as well. So when you go to Old San Juan, walk the street, you can see pretty much structures like these ones, different mosaics, different documents, pretty much the essences of our cultures, the clash of our cultures are going to be present there as well. But this is not a tour based on architecture. This is a tour based on rum. Rum de murciélago, the rum of the bat. And we know a little about history, we know a little about our production, a couple of the structures and buildings, but we yet have to discover the meaning behind this señorita right here, this señorita of the bat. Why does Bacardi have a bat as a logo? Out of all the things, we're going to learn that. Science, the craft behind Bacardi rum, we are going to learn that in our next station. Follow me to the bat theater.
Bienvenidos a Casa Bacardi. Your journey today takes you from our humble beginnings more than 150 years ago to our status as one of the world's favorite premium rum brands. Our story begins on February 4th, 1862, in Santiago de Cuba, where our founder, Don Facundo Bacardi Mazo, began experimenting with the distillation of rum. He began by questioning every step of the process. After fermenting the sugarcane molasses, he distilled the spirit using methods he invented. He then added 4 new steps never tried before: charcoal mellowing the distillate drop by drop, and aging it for several years in mature oak casks, blending his rums into a new type of spirit that met his high standards. His smooth and light-bodied rum had a quality unlike any other he had ever tasted. In order to supply his rums beyond his friends and family, he purchased a small tin roof distillery for the price of 3,500 pesos. After entering the distillery, his wife Amalia noticed a colony of fruit bats hanging from the rafters. As a lover of the arts, she knew instantly that this would be the perfect logo for her husband's rum, as Spanish and Cuban lore regarded bats as a symbol of good health, fortune, and family unity. In search of an identifiable emblem, Don Facundo employed the bat as a trademark for his new rum. Bacardi rum became known as El Ron del Murciélago, or the rum of the bat. Since 1862, Bacardi rum has been awarded more than 550 times in international expositions and competitions, including the distinguished gold medal awarded in Barcelona in 1888. On this date, Her Majesty, the Regent Maria Cristina, appointed Bacardi purveyors to the royal Spanish household, and Bacardi forever became known as the King of Rums and the Rum of Kings. To celebrate the end of the Spanish-American War in 1900, Bacardi was used to create the first ever Cuba Libre, Bacardi and Coke, now one of the most ordered cocktails around the world. Previously, it was also used to create the mojito and daiquiri. Don Facundo's children enhanced his legacy. His eldest son, Emilio, as the first president of the company, expanded to New York and Spain. His long struggles for independence and his imprisonment for anti-colonial activities identified him as a patriot. However, his philanthropic and literary achievements are what gave him recognition as Santiago de Cuba's favorite son. Another son, Facundo, patiently continued his father's work, adapting his formulas to modern technology and training select members of the family's third generation. He is remembered throughout his family as the master of rums. Jose, the third son, extended the sales arm of the company to Havana, and daughter Amalia's husband, Enrique Schweg, is known as the company's architect of expansion. Of course, good fellowship and Bacardi go hand in hand. Throughout its history, Bacardi as a company has had the ability to turn adversity into opportunities. Take Prohibition. America's unsuccessful experiment was the company's gain, as the Volstead Act prohibited the consumption of alcohol in the United States, so Americans turned to Cuba for fun and enjoyment. Havana nightlife and the dramatic Art Deco-style building, Edificio Bacardi, became an international icon for style and sophistication. At the same time, Enrique Schweg began to produce Bacardi rum in the same way and under the same demanding standards outside of Cuba. He expanded the production of Bacardi to Mexico and to our first facility in Puerto Rico. Bacardi rum was also the subject of a New York Supreme Court ruling in 1936. As company president, Enrique Schweg ensured that when you ask for Bacardi by name, it's Bacardi rum you must be served. After Prohibition, the company opened a sales office in New York City, later moved to Miami, and now currently in Coral Gables, Florida. Under the direction of Enrique's son-in-law, Jose Pepin Bosch, the company continued to expand. In fact, the current facility in Cataño, Puerto Rico, was established in 1958 and is the world's largest premium rum distillery. Christened by then Puerto Rico Governor, the Honorable Luis Muñoz Marin, as the Cathedral of Rum. 3 years later, the Bacardi Visitor Center opened in Puerto Rico and has been welcoming guests ever since. In 1862, our founder's son, Facundo, planted a coconut palm in front of the distillery in Cuba. The building grew around El Coco and gave rise to the legend that Bacardi would survive in Cuba so long as the palm tree lives. Jealously guarded for close to a century, it withered and died shortly before the country's revolutionary regime confiscated the company's assets in Cuba. Shortly after, the Bacardi family, along with a multitude of their countrymen, went into exile. Exile Pepin Bosch masterminded a global expansion. With the company's iconic rum trademark and secret formula safely outside of Cuba, by 1978, Bacardi rum became the #1 premium spirit brand in the United States. The following year, #1 in the world. Following the exact formula, distillation and mellowing techniques pioneered by our founder in 1862, Bacardi continues to be at the forefront of innovation, like the first rum that ran from our stills. New expressions of Don Facundo's masterpiece continue to bear his trademark, a trademark of quality and excellence that is recognized the world over. Whether you say Bacardi or Bacardi, we welcome you to enjoy our premium rum aged under the sun. So you see, there's more than meets the eye. Bacardi is a tradition of unparalleled commitment and a passion for making the world's best rums for your enjoyment. On behalf of the Bacardi family and our employees, we welcome you to explore Casa Bacardi.